queer, that's our lived experience, that's our day-to-day experience, which otherwise at times could be perhaps for those of us that do not fall into the spectrum, they might think we're being overboard, we're being oversensitive. It says until an issue is sort of directed towards you, it's quite difficult to understand the impact that it might have on your life. So I've written stuff also on these issues. There's going to be references, so you can go into those documents just to get a sense of some of the arguments that I put forward. The fact that there is legislation, I know that Paul is going to talk about our rights, and they're going to talk about the freedoms and the equality clause that's there. But in reality, our questioning should be, is this a lived experience, or is it a document that is somewhere out there? And how then do I use those documents that are out there in practice? How do I incorporate them into my lived experience as a queer person or as a trans person? Of course, issues of legislation not translating into our day-to-day lives, because at the end of the day, you walk down the road, someone is going to call you whatever word they want to call you, slur word, and and completely get into your sort of space. Yeah. Okay, so what are we talking about today? Are we going to be talking about the LGBTQIA+, sex assigned at birth, gender, sexuality, the spectrum, what do we mean? And again, another point that I need to make is that, we talk about these things and we use English, and for some of us, English is not, for most of us in this room, English is not like our first language of instruction. So it's quite difficult, because you then ask yourself, why is this gap there? Where are the words that come, vernacular words that sort of come from our communities that are easily accessible to us? Why are we not using those words? And I must tell you, it's quite difficult to find, because oftentimes, even though they're there, they're not necessarily nice to hear. The ones that exist in things that have been called in the past. They're there, they're easily accessible. Then when someone says that, everybody sort of gets an idea of what they're talking about, but they're not really nice words to hear, especially if you're part of the spectrum. So we are limited by language, and we know that language also has links to power in terms of social structures, because whoever's language of instruction we're using, then they have some sort of power linked to that, right? And so these are the conversations that we need to start having. Tomorrow, I'm hoping that we have more time to really be engaging with these things. So, does anybody know in this room what LGBT, let's stop there, LGBT stand for?